Hello, everybody. It is 10:03 p.m. Central Time on the 4th of January 2018. We are here at the start of the new year, and we are on the Earthquake 3D live stream, where we daily recap the seismic events from around the planet. Also, on a weekly basis, if you don't know, I issue earthquake forecasts for new areas to watch for movement to strike. And since last night, we had a few significant developments take place in the United States and over in Europe. So let's get into the deep end on this. Let's look at the west coast of the United States. Bay Area this morning, 3:30 a.m. An earthquake strikes, going on for 5 to 10 seconds, measuring in, downgraded at 4.4. Many stations showing higher than that, going all the way up into the 5 range. And you guys may remember just a few days back, there was a 4.6 right here off the Gorda Ridge. Look which way our arrows point. Look which place, the location, the epicenter, where the 4.4 struck today in the Bay Area. And you'll understand 4.6 leads to 4.4. And we're going to look for new activity to go down to the south over the next few days. So people in the Bay Area, on the West Coast, we were looking for new activity to come over into California following this earthquake off the Gorda Ridge. We're still looking for, by the end of this weekend, for down here near Salton Sea to be getting approximately the same sized earthquake that just struck at the Bay Area. Now, all the signs were there that there was getting ready to be something happening across central to southern California. Let me get a different map up here so you can see it, and I'll turn on a display capture so you can see my mouse. And we'll look at all the small earthquakes that have struck since last night. Now, we did this a day ago, literally last night at 10 p.m., and I showed you all the activity going up to the north. We talked about Mount St. Helens and the swarm happening at Mount St. Helens. Carrying on today, by the way. So the swarm at Mount St. Helens carrying on. Also the swarm over to the east that we talked about. We talked about 4.0 pressure being placed on California. Now in between our different sets of swarms. That's where the new 4.0 earthquake struck in the Bay Area this morning. Well, we're not done yet. There's going to be more activity. Geysers, California is lighting up right now. You see this going up into the 2 range. Normally it's in the zeros. So to see a bunch of 2s there means an increase in power. Additionally, over to the east, we have new swarm locations breaking out across Nevada and down to the south, going across Southern California, spreading across the whole of the eastern portion of the LA basin, going down into Salton Sea. Right in the middle, Anza Gap and the slow slip location continuing to slip. The whole plate is in motion right now, folks. If you don't know this, of course, you're not going to be told by your professionals. They're keeping it hush, hush. No one's telling you about this, what I'm getting ready to show you. Now, look over the last day, and what you'll see are 3 distinct cluster points. Look over the last 48 hours, and you'll see, obviously, this is a fair amount of activity that started to take place. Now, I'm going to open up a different page here, the the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. We're going from the University of Washington's page over to the Pacific Northwest Seismic Net, and we're going to search a date range. And we'll take this back. Let's take this back to December 30. Let's take it back to the day before New Year's, December 30th till today. Now, look at this. All right, so I think you get the picture. In the last week, we have a cluster, 3 different clusters, but a main cluster across the West Coast going all the way down here. Now, you don't see any red dots down here. Down in California, you have to include all of these little zeros that you see here and imagine them as little red dots on this map. So, if you take those locations that are not shown down to the south into account, you have 1 down here in Southern California, 1 at the California border with Nevada, and then 1 up here to the north at Geysers, where we have a line or a diagonal line going across Redding. Do you see that? So that's a straight line that's not normal in nature. That's a fault zone that's being put under pressure, obviously. And to the south, again, you have to imagine the red dots, and you would have to imagine a cluster of red dots, which I will show you right now, here on this map, going along the creeping section of the San Andreas, just south of San Francisco. So Bay Area moving today in between creeping section, which was moving a day and a half ago, and geysers, which is under a serious amount of stress. Where's it all coming from? Why are there 3 distinct clusters plus Mount St. Helens itself? Why are they all moving? Why is this all going on over the past 4 or 5 days? What's with these 3 clusters? Well, these 3 clusters indicate that the plate has 3 pockets to the north that are moving all at once over the past few days. This is a slow slip, but a plate-wide slow slip, not just a single event slow slip like what happened last year in the Olympic Peninsula. This is happening across the whole of the West Coast all at once in the course of a couple days' time. So the whole West Coast is slow slipping. And slow slipping is a term to describe when 2 or more plates pass by one another over time. And in this case, a slow slip event means there's pockets of these, well, events happening all the way across the whole West Coast, 1,300 miles, meaning there's going to be some larger movement accompanying this. Professionals have said slow slips lead to shallow, large earthquakes on nearby faults to where the slow slip is happening. That's when you're talking about one cluster. So for instance, if we were only talking about this single cluster up here in Washington, we would say, okay, when this portion of the slow slip stops, then a single larger earthquake would strike, similar in size to the total amount of movement that happens with the slow slip, a cumulative total, if you will. Down to the south, then you add in 2 locations, well, that's going to double it, isn't it? And if you add in 3 or 4 or 5, or you start adding in the whole portion of the plate, it means we're looking at a bigger event that's going to be coming in the next several weeks to months. Now, why weeks to months? Well, first, this has to start coming to a halt. This is my take on it. When the slow slip comes to a halt, that's when something happens off the coast of significant size. Okay? So that's what's going on the West Coast right now, Bay Area. The reason you got hit, again, we just trace it back to the 4.6 that struck out here just a couple days back. We told you, when it hit out here, watch over to the east by southeast across California first, then over to the Midwest, then over to the East Coast. And we need to talk about what else happened today. Look, a new near 3.0 earthquake has struck right at the border with Maine. That's southeast Quebec, near Maine. We named Maine in the forecast this week, and now it's been hit. And we named it for a 3-point-something, and here it is, coming in near 3.0. Not just a chance, not just a coincidence, that's a press from the west. Now, we also need to talk about a few other things that happened today. How about a new swarm breaking out in southeast Idaho at Sulphur Peak, next to Soda Springs? So Soda Springs gets its name from the effervescence in the waters in the springs there. The effervescence caused by ancient magma chambers. We can get into a long story about how Yellowstone's magma chamber is 10 Grand Canyons in size. But really, you need to understand this is on the edge of the North American Craton. Look at the graphic here. Do you see this? So we have black arrows here, and I'll back out this portion so you can see it. Now look where Yellowstone is. Are you familiar where Yellowstone is? It's in northwest Wyoming, right here. Now compare it to the Craton graphic, and look at the lines that go down the graphic. And keep that graphic in your mind. We're going to turn it off, get back over here, and you'll see our earthquakes again today. 4th day in a row are matching up with the edge of the Craton. Additionally, our pushes coming over from the west, you got to remember there's been multiple 4.0 earthquakes this week coming out of Washington. First, there was a 4.2 that struck right here in near Snoqualmie, Washington, and they downgraded it to a 2.4. Remember that? Well, the next day, a 4.0 hit in the Midwest. We know that they did that crazy downgrade. That was the first 4, just a few days back. Then we got another 4 that struck here in Washington yesterday at Mount St. Helens. Now today, we get a new 4 down here. Well, that's a lot of 4.0 activity over the last couple days. Here, let me turn on our 7-day 2.5 and greater feed again so you can see all this. Okay, here we go. No way. They downgraded the 4-point-something earthquake at Mount St. Helens to be a 3.9 to get it off the 4.0 and greater list. I will be damned about that. Look at that. Isn't that sneaky? Don't you guys find that sneaky for them to do that when they try to lower an earthquake to be just under a threshold that people will search for? So people will search how many 4.0 earthquakes happen on the West Coast in the course of time. They take them down to 3.9, so you'll never find out about this, right? You have to search 3.9s and great. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing that on purpose. Oh, man, that is so pathetic in my eyes. All right, well, anyways, this was a 4-point-something last night, and now today it's a 3.9. There it is at Mount St. Helens, 4.4 down to the south, 4.6 over to the west, which they didn't even report, by the way. The USGS did not report this, 4.6 you see here. So USGS had to be pressured into putting this on the feeds. All in all this 4.0 activity, take a look over the last several days. Even with their stupid little downgrade there, we'll put it on there. Look at that. So you see it, obviously, coming in from the West Coast, going over to the Midwest, fracking operations in the Midwest, and who's sandwiched right in the middle? I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? So, Bay Area, you're really sandwiched in between our 2 previous 4s. That's really, you're the halfway point between the 2 previous largest earthquakes that struck. East Coast, you got hit because of the push in the Midwest. Push in the Midwest always pushes over to the East Coast. You get the leftovers. And our halfway point on the East Coast is usually between our termination point out here. So before we go out to the X here, we get to a halfway point in Maine and New Brunswick. We get a lot of earthquakes striking up here, reported by the Canadian agency, that never make it to our feeds for the USGS. So you have to check that feed if you're going to be doing any kind of triangulation for the Northeast to find your halfway fulcrum points. It's kind of difficult because they're not reporting so many different earthquakes. That's just the United States. Let's talk about what else happened today, because look, we also have a new deep earthquake over here. Kermadec Islands near New Zealand, 5.0. 5.1 at 458 kilometers deep down below the plate. You know what this means? Guys, New Zealand, you're about to get hit on the North Island. North Island is probably going to be getting hit by a 5-ish type earthquake in the next 72 hours. Look, when you get a deep 5 this close to the North Island, it usually either produces a large swarm, and I mean something where there's a stack of earthquakes coming up off the feed here where we can't even see it on the map. That'll be how many earthquakes strike as a result of a swarm from something like this. Or you will get a single larger earthquake. How much larger? Looks like it's probably going to be less than 1 magnitude larger. I hate to have to put it that low, but when we see deep earthquakes here, it usually impacts the North Island at the catcher's mitt, and then you see an excitement like a swarm, then a single large earthquake, but it's not a megaquake, not 1 or 2 magnitudes larger, relatively the same size, maybe a few points higher. So let's put it at like a 5.3 to 5.4 potential along with swarm. I hope for that. Otherwise, it's 1 to 2 magnitudes larger, and you're looking at up to a 7.1 earthquake. But it will be on the North Island. Okay, whatever hits is going to be hitting on the North Island because this is coming up down below, and it's, again, close to New Zealand. So the first path of least resistance will be the North Island, not the plate boundary, but North Island. Be ready for it. 72 hours. Look at this. Look over the West Pacific. Check this out. Do you see this? Here's our earthquakes yesterday, all our 5s marked in kind of a pinkish color. So we talked about the progression yesterday. Now the exact middle point of that whole mess just got hit today. Not just today, but our most recent earthquake. Look at that. Right on the coast of Japan, near 5.0. Why? middle fulcrum point. All the other spots had moved. Get those all off there. Fulcrum point between what? Fulcrum point between our two volcanoes that were showing activity. There was new reported volcanic puffs emissions at Ebiko volcano here and down at Sakurajima here. All of a sudden, excuse me for coughing, by the way. All of a sudden, right in the middle, new near 5.0 earthquake. That happens when we get volcanic eruptions on both sides of an area. It's the unexpected, expected, right? So it happened. I didn't issue a forecast for it, but if you hear about two eruptions happening on either side, the middle point gets hit with a near 5, we expect that. Over to the west, next to Smith Island, in between Sumatra and Smith Island, new 4.7 as well. And this earthquake, 184 kilometers deep, so it's not technically a deep earthquake, but it's right on the threshold. It's at the bottom side of the plate, indicating pressures transferring across from here. So I'd expect that this deep quake has already pushed over and is going to be exciting things as far west as Europe in the next few days. In Asia, or coming out of Asia, going into the Middle East, a new series of 4s has struck. These are not deep earthquakes. These are nestled inside the plate. So these 4s are going to brute force push their way over into Iran. They already started. Now there's been, what, 2 or 3 of these? Right? And there's only been 1 4 in Iran so far. We can expect 2 more. Since we have 3 4.3s, we can expect 3 4s in Iran. It'll lose a little bit of steam. Each different earthquake loses a little bit of steam as the pressure transfers across. So you got to understand, the pressure is different than the earthquakes. The pressure transfers across the regions. The pressure causes other sized earthquakes. But the pressure that's released and passes through these areas loses a little bit of force along the way. So it'll leave 4.3s here, it'll leave 4.0s here, and it'll go down into 3s by the time it hits over here in Turkey, just as an example. Now today, over to the west, look who got hit again. Look at this. Bosnia, this time directly. So Bosnia was warned for this week's activity, and Bosnia has been hit near 3 times. So we've seen 3 different sets of 5s break out this week. Here, let me turn down the ring so you can see this. Look at this. 5.0, 5.1, 5.0, all in the last few days, all south, southeast of Italy. Additionally, 1 more 5.1 far over to the west. That's significant. Going down to 4s, you'll see everything's back behind these. So there's not much out in front of the 5s. Maybe 1 single 4, again, in Bosnia. Now, Bosnia keeps getting hit. Why did I name Bosnia this past week, guys? Anybody know? We go back to our 4.0s and 5s that struck down here in Turkey, going back to last week. So the reason we named Bosnia for this week is because Bosnia was under the gun. It was the next step in this step across Europe. Now, there's another set that we have to worry about over here to the west. The only people yet to be hit is central Italy. Now, I told you guys, by the time we get to the 4th, going into the 5th, this should have all happened. Well, look what happened in Italy today. A direct line of 2s going all the way across the country. That might not seem like anything to you guys or to the untrained eye or to people who aren't paying attention, but how much force do you think it would take to displace all of southern Europe across Italy on a 2.0 basis? How about it would take into the 4 range to do that? Something coming 1 to 2 magnitudes larger than this deep earthquake that just struck today in the Tyrrhenian Sea. I'm sorry, in the Adriatic Sea. And this is abnormal. We don't normally see deep earthquakes in the Adriatic Sea. The Adriatic Sea is east of Italy, in between Italy and Bosnia and Albania. Now, a deep 3 on its own is capable of causing a shallow 4 to a shallow 5. And we are looking for somewhere in the 4-ish range to be striking central Italy. Where did I name? Norcia to the Adriatic. So here we have a deep earthquake now taking place in the Adriatic Sea. We named here at central Italy at Norcia to the Adriatic Sea. A deep earthquake there? Not a coincidence. We're looking for shallower, larger movement, 1 to 2 magnitudes larger than this new deep quake that just struck. We were already looking for that. We're already looking for 1 to 2 magnitudes larger than this 3. We're looking for a 4 to a 5, based upon the other 5s that are striking all around the region. You got to understand, these 2s right now are surrounded by 5s. That's 3 magnitudes higher. And somebody corrected me on this, and I would totally trust their math on this. So, in magnitude scale, I should correct myself. In magnitude scale, 3 magnitudes higher is 1,000 times more increase in magnitude power. Now, when we talk about force and energy, there's 30,000 times more energy computed into, maybe even more, maybe less, but let's just put it this way. 3 magnitudes higher is a huge, big difference, a differential. If this was a storm, you would see a big low pressure system over here with a large storm front over to the east where all the 5s are. And over in Italy, it would be like where it's still a high pressure system getting ready to get pushed out of there, and a big line of storms is building on your front. That's what it would be like if we were talking about weather of some kind. Okie dokie. So I'm not talking about that. We're talking about seismic pressure transferring across the area, and people in Italy, you already know. This is on your doorstep. This is right next to you, a series of 5s. This isn't some far removed situation that we're talking about here. This is right next to you. And my Italian viewers know, anytime we start talking about 4s and 5s in Italy, that's when I get concerned. It's actually a point of concern for me because people over there worry about it, 4s and 5s, because 4s and 5s are enough to cause damage in their houses. Not like over here with the Bay Area 4-point-something that just hit. That in its own right does shake things and knock things off shelves and causes you to be scared. But over in Italy, we've seen fatalities with 4s and 5s. Structure collapses because of the old stone structures. So when I'm talking about 5s around you and you are surrounded by them, you don't have to take my word for it. Look, let me turn down the rings again so you can see this. Surrounded by 5s and you're kind of stuck right there in the middle, that's not a good place to be. You want this pressure to transfer around you and to go up and out and away from you out to the mid-Atlantic ridge. That has not happened. Iceland has not been hit. The whole tap has been cut off. If this was a flowing river, there is a blockage that's been placed right at Bosnia. It's so obvious. There's deep earthquakes popping off there. Pressure is trying to force its way around Europe. Right now, it's blocked there. When it's released, it's going to be released like a held-back force, like a pent-up spring, like a force that's under pressure. And when it's released, it's going to release with a larger pop. It's going to release with a large bang. And so that's what I'm worried about. Okay, and now you understand why I'm worried, because it's been several days. You're at 2s, you're surrounded by 5s. Now, hey, speaking of being surrounded by 5s, let's go down here to South America. Now, you guys remember, we issued our warnings for Colombia, and we issued our warning for Argentina going into Chile. So far, up to the north, we got our earthquake yesterday, and today we saw an increase in volcanic activity. Multiple eruptions at Reventador volcano here in Ecuador, and multiple eruptions up to the north at Fuego volcano here in Central America. You'll notice the cluster of 4s ongoing across South Mexico. This is somewhat normal as the plate boundary is still broken apart and being jostled and pushed every time new pressure comes in. What new pressure came in? You see it? Here. So 4.6, incoming pressure going in here. It still hasn't hit. We have till the end of the weekend for this. We're looking for an upper 5 to be striking in Colombia. And I take that serious because lower 5s caused fatalities there. Look what else happened today. First of all, yesterday's earthquakes struck over at Puerto Rico and at the border of Venezuela, and I believe that's the Virgin Islands, I don't know. So over here at the border of Venezuela, 4.6, and the 4.2 next to Puerto Rico, add them together, what does it equal? 4.8, right? Okay, well, look what struck over here to the east. A new 4.8 to 4.9 earthquake. So new 4.9 striking right next to our letter X, following yesterday's activity. So this is twice now. This has been in the past few days. The X has been hit twice as two different sets of earthquakes came across the Caribbean and struck out to our letter X. That's twice you can check it off the list in the same week. It's getting ready to happen again. So when the new 5 strikes here, you can watch within a few days and watch a new earthquake strike in the Eastern Caribbean. Significant in size. It'll be itself in the 5 range. And then we'll see the X's get hit by the end of this coming week. I'm already going out by the next week because we're going into several day outlook just by me telling you that. And that's what's going to happen up to the north. And down to the south, notice there's no earthquakes coming across the arrow at all, but we know pressure is coming across from our deep earthquakes. Trace it. Look where they all are. Our deep earthquakes are here, and pressure is placed across the fracture zones, which are kind of shaped like rungs on a ladder. They're east and west facing latitude on a map almost. And the pressure follows those fracture zones on the underside of the plate. As it hits South America, the pressure has nowhere to go. When it does, it impacts into South America, and we see earthquakes back at the Chile-Argentina border on land usually, or right next to the ocean. So maybe right on the ocean front or back by 50 to 75 miles or maybe 100 miles back into the interior right at the border. And the pressure that comes across that's released here usually is fairly large when it hits in here. So there's no loss of momentum. If it's a 5 that pushes over here, we usually see 5 or greater impact over here. So it's a great force that comes across. But it doesn't stop there. It's not dead-ended here. When it impacts here, then the force tries to go down and around and underneath the plate. And by the end of this weekend, I don't forecast eruptions, but we're going to start to see new volcanic reports coming out of Nevados del Chilean and Villarrica down here as pressure is introduced again at the underside of the plate, impacting those magma chambers that are nestled down into the crust. Then it's going to come back down and around and pop back up here where nobody lives in the South Sandwich Islands. Or maybe there's a few hundred people that live down there. South Sandwich Islands, where new people, if you do want to freaking go down there, I guess you could go down and do some tests. But, guys, people down here, not too populated. So don't worry about it, but a new earthquake's going to strike down there. I don't even know why I issue forecasts for it. Nobody cares, right? Nobody lives there. Nobody cares. Oh, boy. It's kind of the situation I'm running into around the planet right now. Most people apparently don't want to know when an earthquake's going to strike. Who would have thought? People in the Bay Area, did you want to know? Bay Area, if I can say it right. Did you want to know when an earthquake's coming at 3:30 in the morning? Didn't you? I would assume you did. Enough people freaked out about it that they seemed to want to know when an earthquake was going to strike. Did you know that we issued a warning for this week for California to be hit by mid-range 4 activity? Did you? I mean, I have to ask because I'm the only person who got on here and took the time to warn you for this week, especially after the 4.6 hit. That hit what? 3 days ago. The 4.6 hit 3 days ago, and that's when I issued the warning. So if you didn't know there was pressure coming, now you understand there was pressure coming from an earthquake that was caused off the coast by seismic pressure that's traveling across the planet. Again, the earthquakes themselves are not causing the other earthquakes. It's this greater seismic force. It's a separate force. It leaves the earthquakes behind like a calling card as it travels across these regions. Take a look at it. See the fours? See how they make almost like a bended U shape across half the United States? If you take that down just a notch, you'll see it culminates at the New Madrid seismic zone and then focuses up the East Coast with whatever's left over. Ultimately, the total amount of pressure that's introduced over here on the West Coast, it tries to push across the whole United States. Sometimes the force is great enough that it goes all the way back out to our termination point. It's only a few times we've seen that happen. Maybe 3 or 4 times in the entire time I've been watching since 2011 have we seen force maintain its momentum all the way across the United States. 2011 was one of those times when a 5.9 struck here on the East Coast in Virginia, at Mineral, Virginia. You guys remember this? 2011, the big one on the East Coast, 6.0 basically. 12 hours before that, there was a 5.9 here out in southern Colorado at the fracking operations. They downgraded it to 5.4 for some goofball reason. But anyways, 12 hours before, we have an earthquake here, and then 12 hours later, we have the 5.9 over on the East Coast. That was one of the times when force was great enough that it pushed all the way across the plate. Now, where did those two earthquakes come from? They actually came from activity that was striking up here off the coast of Vancouver about 4 days before that. So 4 days prior, we get a big earthquake up here in the 6.0 range. Then we get a 5.9 here in Colorado, followed 12 hours later by another 5.9 over here in Virginia. That happened in 2011. So it happens. You need to have a plan on the East Coast for earthquakes, not just on the West Coast. But if you're on the East Coast, you have to watch to the West Coast like you're watching for a giant storm to come in off the Pacific and blow across the United States towards you. Now, I understand you're under some storms right now. Well, you know how to watch storms, right? Well, you watch storms blow in from a distance using radar and satellite, right? Well, in this case, I've provided for you a 365-day live stream to show you where the earthquakes are striking on a three-dimensional globe, so it's easy to understand where it's coming from and going to. Doing more, I think, than even the USGS would be doing on their website to provide for you at least a visual aid, maybe not the data so much, but the visual aid to help you understand the relation between one earthquake and another earthquake. And there is a relation between the quakes, and that relation is this seismic force that I'm talking about. Now, for professionals and people who are listening, who are understanding, maybe you can comprehend this, maybe you can't. Let me quickly explain. The deep earthquakes over here, where they're raised high off the globe for easy identification, these deep earthquakes create pressure on the underside of the plates, and that's plural because the deep earthquakes happen in certain areas across the planet. When the deep earthquakes put pressure on the underside of the plate, the pressure then tries to find a way up. Are you shocked? When the pressure tries to find a way up, it's not just static. It's not just standing it still. It's actually moving. That force is traveling. It's moving across the underside of the plate, trying to find a way up through. And guess what it runs into? One of the first things. The cracks on the underside of the plate that are called the plate boundaries. They're the spots, they're cracks that go from the underside of the plate down where the magma is, all the way up to the surface. And usually those plate boundaries are out to sea for most of the Pacific plate. Now, they do meet up in a few spots where they go on to land. We can talk about that at a different date. But just so you understand, when the pressure comes up on the underside of the plate, it seeks out a path of least resistance coming up. And it hits those plate boundaries, and boom, it's already got a crack to go up through. So it goes up through the plate boundary fractures, and then something amazing happens. When the force is coming up, there's a leverage action. There's an increase in power as the force is coming up at an angle from deep down below, from the more liquid magma translated up into the more rigid plate. It's absorbing more energy, and that causes a larger earthquake. And that larger earthquake doesn't just happen anywhere. Here's the other miracle on this. Mother Nature's miracle. That pressure sorts out and finds the fulcrum point between the 2 previous spots or 4 previous spots or 10 previous spots that just moved within the past few days. Now, I look within 48 hours. That gives us silent zones. We find the silent zones. We look to the middle of the silent zones to find our fulcrum points. Does this make sense? You understand a fulcrum point? Right? I mean, a fulcrum. Think of a scale, right? You're weighing something. And those 2 weighted scale hands or scale sides are balancing on what's called a fulcrum. And on that fulcrum is where the balance is placed of the total weight of what's on both sides of the scale. Same thing on a children's playground. A children's playground, a seesaw as they call it here in the United States. There's probably a million names for it around the world, but everybody uses one when they're a kid. You get two kids on it, one pushes up, the other goes down. The other pushes up, the other goes down. You get a heavy kid sits on one side, lightweight kid goes up on the other and does not come back down, right? Well, that middle point between the two people that are going up and down is the fulcrum. It's the middle point where all that weight of the two people on the board is placed. Well, we're not talking about two people on a board. We're talking about two areas that are moving. So I want you to think about this area moving down below, and this area moving up above, and this area in between, sandwiched in the middle at the fulcrum between the two spots that are moving. And that's a spot where pressure is placed by Mother Nature for the shallower, larger earthquake to strike next to these deep quakes. So these deep quakes push over to the west, find the middle fulcrum point, strike there with a shallower, larger earthquake. Then we see pressure spread out across the plate boundaries. It doesn't just stop here where the first release happens. The force tries to equalize. It tries to spread out even further, and it does. And it follows the plate boundaries all the way out, across over to Europe, and finally it hits a wall it can't pass, and that's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, another plate boundary, but one which bisects the entire planet from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole. It's like a wall that the pressure can't go under, around, or over. So, and when it goes through it and hits it, then something that's just phenomenal, beyond amazing happens. If the force is great enough, when it hits its termination point here, it's recycled back through the planet and comes back out on the antipode, the opposite side, with a new deep earthquake, restarting the cycle again. I know. When I started to notice this, people said, oh, it was impossible. Oh, it'll never happen. Well, we know that's a load of bunk because we've seen it happen now over and over again for years. So the deep earthquakes cycle around the planet, following the plate boundaries and going over to the west. By the way, just as I'm talking now, Cyprus has just been hit. Hold on, let's just make sure about this. Right next to Cyprus, a new 4.2 earthquake has struck in western Turkey, right next to Cyprus, in between Cyprus and Crete. Guys, if you were keeping track of areas that we named, you know that we named Cyprus right here. Well, we have an earthquake striking right next to it, 4.2, 4.3. Where did it come from? Anyone know? Many people in chat might know. We go back a day. And I told you, this is like multiple letters in the mail. So you drop one 4.0 in the mail, and it drops off another 4.0 over to the west within a couple days. You do another 4.0 in the mail, and the next day another 4.0 shows up over to the west. Well, here we are. As I'm talking, just now, new 4.3 earthquake just struck there. Time, UTC 4:33. Less than 10 minutes ago. And we issued the warning for the middle point here. That's next to it. I'd like to get a line measurement on that, see if it's, over 200 miles or not. It might be, I really would like to know. So let's go see how close we got it, if we missed it or not. I try to get things down to 200 miles or more or less. Excuse me. I was outside again in this cold today. Can't help it. I've been going outside each day now, trying to do things, and it's just killing me, man. All right, we'll get the coordinates on this. Go look it up. See how far it is from the edge of Cyprus. Now, again, I try to get my stuff down to 200 miles. That's just a rule I've set. I've always been one to screw rules, but not ones that I set myself. So here we go. Let's go see how far away it is. Okay, and line measurements. Here we go. Up, 250. 248. Oh, wait, let's be accurate there. 247.32 miles. I'm 47 miles off. Damn me. How dare I? Well, that's from the middle of the Warren location. Again, this whole area was the Warren location. We could take it from right here, which is probably about the same distance, about 100-something miles. I'm going to have to say that's on the edge of a earthquake forecast hit. I mean, it's a miss. It's 47 miles away from my Warren location. Professionals, eat your heart out. I'm throwing out 47 mile away. I'm 47 miles away. I better throw that one away. It's a beautiful day, I must say. All right, guys. Serious. There's a new earthquake striking. You need to have an earthquake plan. Pressure transfers across distances within a day, 2 days. So in this case, it took a day and a half for the pressure to come out of Iran and go over to the west, striking right next to Cyprus. That's another 4 on top of all the other 4s and 5s. That's, a good way for me to wrap this up right now. These deep earthquakes push out across the planet. You can just see it. A new 4 just transferred into Europe from yesterday's 4s over in Iran. So Iran, you push into Europe. You guys are the flow and control of seismic pressure to Europe. But Iran, guess what? Guess who holds the keys to your hands? India. India, Nepal, and Western China. That's right. So they control the flow to you. And China, you don't get off easy either. Guess who controls the flow to you? Indonesia. Yeah, I mean, you guys can all have to start getting along because you apparently all share something in common. Seismic pressure transferring across each region. So I want you to all have an earthquake plan and definitely be prepared. Over on the West Coast, we knew it was coming. There it is, a new 4. We're looking for Southern California to get hit. It's already been hit by 3s. I named it for a 4 down in Southern California. Already seen 3s. That's already an earthquake forecast hit. I can check it off the list already. But I'm looking for something up to 4 just in case this is low ball. And already, Bay Area, you guys shook 5 seconds. People are comparing it to the Loma Prieta earthquake. That's right. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, heavy shaking, things knocked off shelves. 3:30 in the morning. How many more of these are we going to have, California? These 3:30 a.m. earthquakes. That's just too freaky that you keep getting hit at 3 in the morning. But let me tell you what, this is a great time as an example to give you why you need to have an earthquake plan. So it's the middle of the night, right? Earthquake strikes going on for 5 to 10 seconds. You most likely wake up at some point here in, let's just say, you wake up 5 seconds into it, things are already broken on the ground. And if things are already broken on the ground and you're jumping out of bed, you might get cut if you have socks on or not wearing any shoes. So think about it. Set of slippers, set of shoes by the bed. You might also want to think about having an emergency preparedness kit, something that will again prepare you in time of an emergency for the smaller things that might happen. So first aid kit, a flashlight, a form of communication, maybe some kind of cash or ID, extra insurance card, set of keys, those little things that can make a difference you put into the bug out bag. Also, a change of clothes. Again, middle of the night. Unless you're sleeping fully clothed, you're going to be jumping up out of bed, and you're also going to have to somehow robe yourself so you're not completely outside exposed to Mother Nature as it's all hitting the fan, right? So think about that thing too. Take care of your clothing. Also, take care of your pets. If you have pets, you're going to have to make sure that they are having a safe spot that they can run to. Most pets go to a safe spot. Even in an earthquake, they try to book it for that safe spot. And if you've got a pet safe spot, you should deck it out, make sure that it can withstand some falling objects and falling debris, and hope for the best with the pets, and then collect them after the event goes down. So you have to have a way of some kind of cage to put them in, and some kind of identification for the pet, and all those things that you would need to transport that pet that you might want to think about having, right? And kids, you can tell them, you can show them the plan, you can make sure they know what to do if you're not there. Let's say you leave and go to the store for 5 minutes. Go into the gas station, be right back, and then boom. Okay, so you want the kids to know what to do in case of an earthquake. If you got employees, maybe if some of you have employees out on the West Coast, they need to know what to do in an earthquake in case Big Boss Man's not there. Boss woman, whatever. Sorry, that's sexist of me. boss person, boss robot at this point, boss AI, the Matrix. Okay, well, anyways, you need to have an earthquake plan and know what to do. All right, and yeah, that's all we've got. So much love, and we'll be back. If you like what I do, there's a link down below to subscribe to my channel. Also, there's a way to financially support what I do, which is on Patreon. And many people know about Patreon. You can do $1 or $5, whatever you want, and it adds up once a month for me in case YouTube shuts me off or I need extra cash or something, which I'm going to because the heater just went out on the PT Cruiser. Yeah, I still drive an old beat-up PT Cruiser with 120,000 miles, thanks, and body damage, because I like the character. Real classy. Okay. Peace out, guys, and we'll be back if anything else goes down. And that's all we have. Class is dismissed. Look out for this to be a YouTube video. I'm going to save this as a video on YouTube. If you could please share it on the tubes, we would appreciate it. Now we're done. Have a good one.